With this video, I'd like to talk about the PC Pro course on the TestOut website. As part of this course, you will be required to take and sign up for a course called PC Pro. It is hosted by a company called TestOut. I'm going to show you the details of where TestOut is located, and we'll talk a little bit about the course and how you sign up for it. In this course, you'll be required to take and go through the various modules or chapters that are in the course. And it turns out most of your grade will be determined by how you do as you take the quizzes that are inside of the various modules or chapters. So let's go and see if we can access TestOut. TestOut. Search on it, come up with this website, www.testout.com. Click on it, come to the splash page, and again, there are many courses in TestOut. If I was to click on the course catalog here, you'd see all kinds of courses. Let's just do that for a second. As I scroll down, TestOut Office Pro, TestOut Desktop Pro, TestOut Desktop Pro Plus, IT Fundamentals Pro. Here's the course we care about, TestOut PC Pro. And as it says here, prepare students for the CompTIA A+ certification. There's two cores, Core 1 and Core 2. And you can purchase it here, but let's not do that right now. So we'll go back to the splash page. I'm already a member here, so let's log in. You won't be able to log in until you sign up for it, and we'll explain that in a little bit more detail. So, busy tonight. Okay, here we go. So my page looks a little bit different than yours would. You can see it comes up as my school, Springfield Technical Community College, my classes, my students, and so forth. So down here, you might notice that fall 2019, spring of 2019, spring of 2020, fall of 2020. So this guy here is us right now. September 10th, we have 4 students signed up. The course is TestOut PC Pro, English version 6.07. Notice I get reports. Let's click on this to show you what I can see. I have a class grade book, specific resource scores by class, individual scores by product, class roster, and so forth. So I can take and see what each one of you have done. I can also see how much time you've devoted to the course, and I get a lot of information there. So let's go back. I get in this way. I just click on TestOut PC Pro. Your way of getting in will be a little bit different. So what happens, you have to learn how to navigate this. And of course, we come up here to the menu, and I click on it, and you'll see chapters, computing overview, PC technician responsibilities, system components, and it goes down. We'll go all the way up through security, chapter 13. And on the right hand side here, you see that there's a more detailed menu. So if I use the scroll bar here, course introduction, and the first thing I think I ask you to do in the online course is to look at this PC Pro introduction. Shows you a little bit of how to use it and so forth. Now, this course consists of both coursework and labs. Now, the labs are all simulated, and hopefully we won't have to use those. We have the separate course, CSE-110L, where you'll get your lab familiarity with the computer. We have in room 604 a computer lab. We call it the take apart lab, where there'll be a course, or rather a lab, where you'll be required to take the not the laptop, but the PC apart, put it back together. It's always a fun lab. And it turns out we'll add hard drives, we'll install software. We don't really care what happens to those machines. It turns out, you know, in the worst possible case, you might break something, but we have lots of those machines. They're older ones. And, you know, we have a lab tech who usually ends up putting the things back together if they're torn apart too badly. Anyway, we'll talk more about this course, but I want to tell you how you sign up for it. So I'm going to share a different screen here. Go down. And this is the course syllabi for the course. And if you scroll down through the syllabi, what you see is course requirements. And it's just, as it says here, there's no required text for the lecture portion of the course. Students must register for the course. Let's see if we can blow this up a little bit. Get even bigger. You got to register for the course on TestOut, on the TestOut website. And I've got to update that to 6.07, not 05 there. It's got the ISBN number. There's a discount code. So here you see this discount code that is associated with STIC. It hasn't changed since they gave it to us back about 8 years ago. It's 14-232TA. If you were to go to the website and didn't give that discount code and just signed up, the course is many more times expensive than it is for you if you give that discount code. So you certainly don't want to take and charge your charge card if you're going to use that without using a discount code. So there are two ways to sign up for PC Pro. If you have financial aid, you have to deal with the bookstore, the STIC bookstore, and apparently the bookstore is online now because of COVID-19. So I'm not sure exactly how easy that is to do, but they have a code and they will issue a code in exchange for your money, and that would be your financial aid money. You take that code and you enter it on the TestOut website. Otherwise, you can use a credit card, and again, use that discount code 14-232TA. There's a price difference between these two methods, but if you have financial aid, the only way you can spend, you know, get the course for financial aid is to get it through the bookstore. The credit card purchase is the least costly method. I think the credit card last time we checked was $125 for the course. I think it was like $167 at the bookstore. That's just the way it is. Now, after you register for the testout.com course, PC Pro, the student must also sign up as a student of Springfield Technical Community College. You can't use the abbreviation. And then you sign up for the correct course, which is, again, CSE-110, the fall of 2020. So, again, I'm going to go over this in next week's material. But let's go back to the site for PC Pro. Here it is again. And again, what happens is you work through this material. So let me just go here and let's jump up to external components, for instance. The course consists of usually videos. Again, let me click on, and again, you get to navigate. There are things like this where they show you connectors, more connectors, internal components, setting up a computer. Notice this says start the lab. So this is a lab. You do not have to do the labs. If you want to do the labs, you're certainly welcome to go ahead and do that. I would caution you about one thing. The labs ask you to say X number of tasks. If you do not do all of them exactly correctly, it turns out that you'll be forced to go back and start them all over again. You can't just take and fix the one you didn't do correctly. You have to do them all again. It's rather frustrating to use this. And again, we have a lab associated with the course, which is what we expect you to go to and learn how to deal with the hardware. But again, you're perfectly welcome to use these labs. You know, if most of you, you know, live in driving distance of STIC with COVID-19, we're still face-to-face with this lab. The lab is in room 604 on the 6th floor of building 17. And there's a lot of room in there, so we can have upwards to 8 people in that lab, and without overcrowding and going past the recommended 6-foot distance for social distancing. But nevertheless, say you weren't around this area and you took the course, you're out in someplace in Montana, most likely you'd be doing the labs with simulations. And the simulations are pretty good, I have to admit. The machines look like real-life machines, and it turns out the only drawback is the fact, again, as I mentioned, if something isn't correct, you have to go back and do the entire lab over again. So again, I'm going to come back to this. I'll talk more about this in another little video, but for the time being, let's go back here. This is very important. I've repeated this in the course material. This is under the readings for, I believe, either week number 1 or week number 2, probably week number 1. And you have to go and do things in this fashion. Okay, now other courses at STIC use the TestOut.com software. So you have to be very careful and explicit what one you want when you deal with a bookstore. It's TestOut PC Pro. Okay, and the versions right now isn't too important. Oh, by the way, when you purchase this, it's good for 18 months. That sounds like a long time. It used to be you could have it for 3 years. Now it's down to 18 months, but it certainly lasts longer than just 1 semester. So I'm going to stop at this point, and we'll come back to this in another video.